very strange that they're labeling it direct. Very strange.
Very strange. Very strange.
Yeah.
So I'll begin, I suppose. Welcome, friends,
Yeah.
to Tanked Up, the podcast all about video games and beer. I'm one of your hosts, Ben, here with Lucy.
Who's just absolutely craving a beer? I need one. Just
Okay.
cut everything. Let's
Right.
just jump right into
Fine.
it.
It's episode 345. Lucy, what beer are you drinking?
I am drinking a stout because I believe it's stout time. I think it's that time of year.
Yeah, that's fair.
I think we're there.
Yep.
Yeah. This is a smoky imperial stout.
Ooh.
So a little bit different. Hope the smoke isn't too overpowering. It's 10%. And it's called Fumapapa, and it's from brewery St. Mars of the Desert, a brewery that I really still want to visit up in Sheffield. I picked up a few of their beers recently, and they're always also good.
Yeah.
So, yeah, hopefully this carries on that trend. It's got barley, oats, wheat, and that's it, really. This is a small batch beer brewed by Dan, Martha, and Scarlett in our brewery in Sheffield.
Nice. I think you've had a beer from these guys on the podcast before, because I'm sure we've had a discussion about the name previously. I've got a 10% stout in my fridge.
Ooh.
I almost grabbed it for tonight, but I was feeling something a little bit lighter. I have gone for a stout. It's an oatmeal stout from Good Chemistry Brewing called Throwing Shade. It's only 6%. They have lots of information on the back, some of which I will read. All the oats, jumbo, malted, and golden naked oats give this dark and roasty stout a smooth, silky body. Bramling Cross hops provide highlights of hedgerow fruits. It is 15% hoppiness, 80% maltiness, 50% bitterness, and 40% sweetness. Obviously not a cumulative percentage there for those things. They do give other little bits of flavour text, as Good Chemistry do. You know I love Good Chemistry, everyone. So go and buy their cans, and you can see what information they put on. I'm going to pour this, and we're going to come straight back to you, Lucy.
Yeah, cool. I mean, it could definitely smell the smoke immediately as soon as I pop the tab on the can, and just even holding it like, half a foot away, can still smell it. So it doesn't fill me with much confidence that it won't be too overbearing, but we'll see.
It's a considered Okay.
Yeah, I think, just right off the bat, it's like getting that smoke, but I think it's not as overwhelming as I first thought from the smell and from the first taste. Especially when my palate becomes acclimatized to it, I think it'll just be, it won't be as jarring at first. But even so, on the first sip, it's still I think it's tempered enough where it's not overwhelming. It's actually gives it a nice kick to it, to be honest. It doesn't taste like a burnt cigarettes and ashtray debris in my nose. So it's past that test. Yeah, I mean, I'm guessing it's the alcohol content as well, but definitely getting that warming feeling. I think the smoke just adds to that. And
is it more like sort of like a bit of a burnt wood kind of, getting sort of more of those like tannin sort of notes in there that are just a little bit more bitter, perhaps?
Yeah, it doesn't really quite have like those kind of like fruity, plum kind of like tannin-esque taste that's like some stouts have. It doesn't quite have that. It's very much more bitter, dark chocolate kind of taste to it. But yeah, it as you were saying, a bit woody, a bit oaky, as if it. I mean, it doesn't have that like sweetness of like a bourbon aged, barrel oak beer, but it still has. It still has, that kind of, as you say, woody, oaky taste to it. Trying to think if it's quite dry or not.
It's obviously not too dry to kind of stick with you from the first sip.
No, no. Now that I've said that and I had another taste, I am getting a little bit of those like kind of dark fruit notes as
Okay.
well. So that's nice. But yeah, no, it's not a dry aftertaste. It doesn't just completely dry you out. It's got a I think it's that smoke. It's
Mm.
like I think that's what's drying my mouth out more and making me want to go for another sip. But at the same time, as you go for another sip, it's going to be like even more smoke. Not in a, as I said, not in a unpleasant way. It's not acrid. It doesn't taste burnt. It's got a nice just underlying smokiness to it
Mm.
that just goes throughout the whole flavor, and it's persistent and it's nice. As I say, it's not too overwhelming. Um, yeah, it's bitter. It's like you know, um, when I said dark chocolate, you're probably not getting any sweetness of that chocolate. I think it's just those bitter notes, but it's
Mm.
nice. And as I say, it's if you don't like smoky beers, don't stay away from this. But yeah, I'd say it's a very nice tasting, like probably a bit stronger, like Rauch beer. Like
Mm.
got that smoke. It's not overpowering. It's not overwhelming. It adds something. It isn't one of those where it's just in the background. It's much more in the forefront and just underlying that everything else in there. But does it to a degree where it feels fine tuned enough where it's not overwhelming. So
Nice. Good.
yeah, I like it. I like it. It's one I'll probably sip a bit more slowly, but it's good. I like it. It's considering how wrong some of these beers can go. Yeah, they've done it very well.
Good. Good. I assume we'll start to see more like fest beers, doppelbox, imperial
Mhm.
stouts. As the kind of the darker months start to creep in as well. So I think we will almost have a bit of a turn on the podcast where these are now the beers we'll start to
Yep.
drink. But yeah, for me, starting off a little lighter with that 6% oatmeal stout. When I cracked it, I know on the can it's quite a low sweetness. Was about I'm about 40%, so not super low in its sweetness, but I got like almost a sweet kind of like because it was carbonated, really really fizzy when I cracked it. I'm getting this almost kind of cola sweetness just off the nose, which when that had all calmed down has almost gone completely. And it's much more of a. There is a bit of a sweetness there, but it's edging more towards like the kind of sweetness that you would get with a milk stout. I don't think there's not any. This isn't a milk stout. I imagine a lot of good chemistry beers are vegan, so I don't imagine there's any lactose in it. There's not,
Mm.
but it's got that little hint of sweetness in the nose. Some of those malts as well, kind of are coming through. A little bit of chocolate as well in there. But it's quite a light nose, really. I suppose expected for something that's a bit 6%. It's quite thin. It doesn't sort of,
Mm.
it doesn't coat the tongue and stick around. It's not kind of velvety. It is very, very light.
Yeah, but the
Doesn't.
good thing with mine is that it wasn't heavy even for a 10%
Mm,
beer. It's
mm,
it's still just about medium bodied.
yeah.
Obviously, the smoke's going to add to that, make it feel a bit heavier. But yeah, it wasn't too thin, wasn't too heavy. So, but with a 6% beer, obviously gonna. I think it's room enough to make a bit more of a bolder, medium bodied beer. But yeah, if it's a breakfast oatmeal, that was it a stout or a porter? Sorry.
This was an oatmeal stout.
Yes, stout. Okay.
It's very very light.
Hmm.
That's kind of the biggest thing I'm taking away from it, sort of straight away. I'm getting a little bit of a kind of very very light dark chocolate. In that there's not a huge amount coming through. There's a touch of it in there as well, but most of the flavour I'm getting through is this sort of slightly kind of burnt fruit sort of flavour. Again, it's very, very light, but it's got this kind of slightly burnt fruit into this, again, almost an earthy sort of note to it. It starts to turn a little bit and give you sort of more towards the back end this kind of deeper, more bitter, kind of earthy note in there. So the beer does start off a little sweeter, but you get a few grades through it until it takes you down to that sort of bitter finish. So
Sounds like something I could vibe with.
There's a little bit of a, albeit very short, journey in this beer. It's incredibly dry though, so all of that is kind of like sucked out straight away. You know, that journey is 2 seconds, 3 seconds maybe. Oh, the sweetness is gone. It's into this earthy bitterness that follows. But it's very kind of moreish. I'm like, oh, what? I want that start again. Let's go back to that. And then when you have that, and it hits, and it goes and mellows down into this earthy kind of bitterness, it's kind of like, oh, this is okay. I can sit with this for a bit. And then a couple of seconds later, it's like, no, I'd rather go back to that kind of sweeter start. So it's kind of pushing me with its dryness and the way that flavour changes to go back to it. Dangerous, very, very dangerous. It's, I think the other recent stout, maybe it wasn't a stout, maybe it was a Baltic Porter, but Good Chemistry do a beer called Becoming North, which is, I think it's a Baltic Porter, but it almost feels like this is a lighter version of that. Like, this feels like it's, and I don't know where I guess the oatmeal is most of the malts that have gone into this, but I don't get a huge amount of kind of oatiness. There's not like a creaminess to it. There's not a smooth kind of rich body to it. I know people have been chucking in oats into sort of IPAs and those kinds of things to maybe thicken it up just a little bit. But this doesn't have that, strangely enough. You know, when it's a lot of oats, it'd be interesting if there are any more things in there. It does say there's some malted barley in here as well. But whether it's just sort of gone, oh well, we're not thickening anything. Maybe just the ratio of what they've used. But it's kind of one of those stouts where if someone said, oh, I don't know, I don't really fancy a stout. You know, I don't really like stouts. You could probably hand them this and go, look, it's a lot lighter. It's not got that thickness to it. You know, it's not like most people associate Guinness with stouts and think of that slightly more viscous, thicker kind of beer. This isn't that at all. It's very light, it's very smooth as well. But this would be definitely one of those. You could hand it to someone, and that, you know, they'd need to like a little bit of bitterness in their beers. But it's like a gateway stout, I would say.
We like our gateway things.
We do, yes.
Maybe to some interesting avenues.
Yes, they do.
Like mixed fermentation beers that cost a packet. Yeah. That's what I'm talking about.
All those 10% stouts and 14% stouts that only get brewed kind of at certain times of the year. You just go, I'll have 10 of those, please. Thank you very much.
Yeah, in New York. Yeah. They got to ship over.
So, for this episode, I think we're going to... it's going to be a bit of a kind of... all over the place
and loose
sort of episode. It's going to be very loose. Well, it will be fast and loose. Because, Lucy, we are going to watch and live react to a Nintendo Direct, which is all about the Super Mario Brothers movie. Adel is going to be very disappointed that he's missed this segment on the podcast.
Well, I wouldn't have known if I hadn't just looked at it, because I completely forgot about it. Even though I think I spoke to Francis about it yesterday, because we recorded out of Roofies, completely forgot about it. So yeah, okay.
I mean, it shows you how much it's on your mind. You know, how much you're actually thinking and waiting and wishing for this Super Mario Brothers movie. But we've got a few minutes until it starts. Have you got any little updates on games or anything very, very short to mention?
I guess I can just mention that I just started playing a little game called Dome Keeper
Oh yeah.
today. From Raw Fury. I literally only started playing it like a couple hours ago, so very early. I played it in one of the Steam Next Fest demos a couple months ago. It's sort of like a 2D mining game where you like sort of like Terraria. But the whole gameplay loop is that you landed on some unknown planet and you're like this little person who has like these little wings and a drill, and you're basically drilling down into the earth, collecting these resources. And on the top, on the surface, you have this dome, hence Dome Keeper, and that is basically your base. And you're having to every now and then fight off these waves of enemies. It's sort of in like this horde mode kind of thing. You have this laser that you can just blast them to pieces with. It's kind of crappy landing on this foreign planet, and then you're just taking out the species who are like trying to get you, and it's like you're the invasive one here, mate. It's just
Yep.
but that aside, yeah, very early on. It's probably going to be like a pretty short experience overall. I guess it's a roguelike or light. So you can keep like one of your upgrades every new run. So like something that teleports you deeper down the mine, or a explosive that replenishes every few minutes, and you can just blow up a block of debris and stuff like that. So yeah, it's got a cool gameplay loop. It's nice and cozy. It seems like very small scale, and I like that. It seems like something that I won't be rogueliking for 50 hours. It'll probably be
Sure.
something like 10 hours or something. So yeah,
Nice.
I'm liking it so far.
It sounds like it's similar to something like Kingdom,
Yeah,
where you have a little bit of time to do the kind of the gameplay stuff. So in Kingdom, it's all about exploration, and in Domekeeper, it sounds about exploration as well, but kind of down into the ground and collecting resources and stuff. And after a timer or something is up, it triggers a bunch of monsters to come and attack, and you've got to sort of defend as best you can.
yeah, it's exactly that, and
Right.
that's published by Raw Fury as well, isn't it? Kingdom? Is it?
I don't know if the first game was, but I think maybe New Lands, or
Right.
is that what it was called?
Yeah.
Yeah, something was.
Yeah, but yeah, pretty much exactly like that. Something a bit more small scale, and yeah, I'm enjoying it. Learning, just getting on. I think I've died twice already, and it's like just learning what better things I should do, where I should focus my resources, and everything like that. That's been super satisfying so far. So yeah, I like the gameplay loop. It's got nice pixel art, so
Yeah.
I was in from just from that. So.
Are you playing on the Steam Deck?
Of course, Ben. Of course. Yeah.
It seems like the
And it
perfect
works
place
really
for
well.
that.
Just start it up and go. Didn't have to change anything. Yeah.
Nice.
But
I did see that Steam Decks are now available, kind of without having to like order them as such. There's no like backlog for them anymore. They must have just ramped up production, and you can just go on. And supposedly, you can get one within about 1 or 2 weeks now.
Yeah, which I mean, that'll mean it's just even more of an impulse buy for some people. So
I
wink,
might
wink.
have had a look earlier just to see.
But you've got willpower though, something that I do not possess. You have willpower and kids.
I
So,
have willpower and a wife and kids who are like, please don't spend 350 quid on something you really don't need. I'm like, but I do.
You do need it. You do. Yeah.
Yes, unfortunately, I'm looking at a laptop for work as well at the moment, which is considerably more expensive, but wipes out the budget for both the PlayStation 5 and Steam Deck. So back to square one, probably, because work.
I'll have to look at what you sent us, because I bought a laptop this week for my mum, but it was like basic, and it was £270. So I wonder what actual good laptops cost.
Well, I was looking at an LG, which was actually sent to me by one of my co-workers. It's only 8 gig of RAM, which is a bit of a bust. I have to have a look and see if there's a way for if there's any additional slots, or if I can just replace it with 16 or something like that. But it's one of the better ones built for AutoCAD because I need it for work.
Okay.
And I think it was £1,600 or £1,700. It's on sale for about £1,100, I think. So it's a deep discount on it.
Yeah, it's a good discount, but geez, I mean, it's been a while since I bought my Surface, and I've literally just dusted that off because that'll be good for my work for the time being. Till I leave.
I can claim the VAT back as well.
Yes,
because it's for business. So that's another 300-ish quid off. No, 250 or something like that, roughly. But yeah, so maybe. But I was looking at Steam Decks, just going, no, I can't. Oh,
that can be a laptop. Yeah, just get a dock for it.
AutoCAD drawings. It's like, I can't see it. It's so small on here.
I mean, doable.
Yeah, maybe.
Cheap computer.
Well, I think that's one of the joys of it, isn't it? That it isn't as kind of most people, I think, would have expected it to be. The OS is just Steam, as kind of like the Steam machines that they wanted to kind of put out were, until you managed to get out of big picture mode in the old Steam Link that they made as well. Like, it's just a way to be able to play anything you want, really, from your PC. So it's a nice kind of just mobile PC, I suppose.
Yeah, it's very good. I'm very happy with mine. What's going on with this Nintendo thing?
I don't know. I was stalling for time a little bit. I thought it was meant to start at 9, but
I didn't know what time it started at.
No, maybe it's a bit later. At 9 o'clock, it jumped up from something like 14,000 Twitch viewers to just over like 18,000. Because obviously everyone else thought it was at 9 o'clock as well. But who knows? I've turned the volume up on it. It might just kick in suddenly at some point.
Let's have a look. I'm looking on Twitter to see what time it starts.
That's a good idea. Maybe I will just regale you a moment with what I've been playing, because I have actually played and I have actually started a new game. But it's not like a new game. I'm not even going to. Oh no, it's just an advert. Don't worry. The screen changed on Twitch. It's just an advert.
Well, that means it's starting, right?
No, it's not that kind of ad. Just a banner advert. So it's just made the screen that little bit smaller to show it. I've been playing Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
The Viking one, yes.
The Viking one, yes. Yeah, I've been playing Crusader Kings 3 a lot, and I'm like, I want something kind of in this realm. I want something of this sort of setting and stuff. And it's free on PlayStation Plus, whichever the middle tier, whatever that's called. So I thought, why not? I'll have a look at it. And so far, it's kind of one of those, big open world games are my comfort food. It started.
We better just show this trailer, and so we can leave after this.
Exactly.
It's better not be, fireside chat with Chris Pratt.
As we previously mentioned, in today's Nintendo
Let me just double check.
The first trailer for the Super Mario Brothers animated movie for the very
There's Miyamoto. That's made my day.
Also being broadcast simultaneously
good
at New York Comic Con.
I'll just double check. Is
Hello,
OBS
New
picking
York
up
Comic Con.
Miyamoto?
It's been nearly 40 years since the original Mario Brothers game was released.
Just want to make sure as well. This would be fine for the podcast.
Lots of people around the world are playing Mario games.
Fine for the podcast, but maybe YouTube might not like this. But we'll see, because Nintendo are kind of known for being absolute hard asses on coming out.
Working on this movie together with Chris Meledandri from Illumination.
I just want to hear Keegan-Michael Key's Toad.
All the way through production.
I can shut it off.
It'd be so good if it's like a picture of Toad, but it's just like Keegan-Michael Key's face on Toad, and he's just like.
And he's doing his gangster voice, like in Key and Peele sketches. That would be great.
I am speaking on behalf of
This is going to be the problem because it's a direct. They feel like they need to push it so much more and like let's just talk to people lots. For those while they're chatting about this, I suppose I'll just quickly I'm enjoying Valhalla. I like Assassin's Creed games. I almost like a bit of the monotony of it, you know, that open world kind of drudge of just exploring. And I barely played the campaign. I ran through sort of the first part quite early to get over to England to start to unlock the map, and I've just kind of been wandering around and exploring all of these, pillaging, doing raids, looking through all of these like temples and kind of ruins for treasure and that sort of thing, collecting artifacts and stuff like that. And I was like, it's fine. This didn't need to be an Assassin's Creed game. They could have absolutely have made a very competent open world Viking game, and it almost
would have been sold as well if it wasn't called Assassin's Creed.
Potentially, it makes me kind of think, why haven't Ubisoft kind of split the franchise a little bit? Because I think Assassin's Creed, you know, it came out of a Prince of Persia kind of idea. They managed to split it away from that. Maybe Prince of Persia was dying a little bit, and they're like, well, let's try something new. You kind of almost want them to sort of split it again. So like they just announced like 3 or 4 new Assassin's Creed games. And like, these don't all need to be Assassin's Creed games. You don't need to worry about the assassin bit.
It's for the market, and I suppose, like, you know, if anyone who, as you, enjoy that game, you know, you don't need the Assassin's Creed thing, you know. So, and I think they pretty much dropped the Animus thing, so it's like it's okay from your standpoint. It's just everybody else who's like, I don't know even who Ubisoft are, so why would I play Valhalla when it's just called Valhalla on the box? You know, they need, it's the new Assassin's Creed game. I play these every year. So yeah, that's why.
Like hyper unreal historical action game.
Yeah.
I
And they're making like 10 more, aren't they?
But you could do like, you know, as PlayStation have done with like Ghost of Tsushima. Assassin's Creed are now coming out with a samurai one as well, I think. And it is almost like, well, new IP sells. You know, Ghost of Tsushima has proven that. But is that because it's a first party game?
I think that's why. And you have like all those weird diehards who are like, we have to buy this game, otherwise Sony will go into an oblivion and all that crap. But just it's weird with PlayStation in that sense, because there's like nobody buying Xbox first party games. They never were. That's why they stick them all on Game Pass. Switch, you know, Nintendo, I think they get by on the merit of just being good games. Like, and Sony ones are very good games.
Are the movies good? It's just starting. Here's the trailer. Me and Mo pointed at the screen and it started. So.
Did Mario die? No, that's lava.
Coming through, right?
I thought it was just his body on fire melting into the ground. Yeah, no, that I'd see.
I mean, so far Bowser's got some kind of island floats. I'm like, it's
his airship. Well,
it's like his airship volcano. Eerie pops.
Jack Black, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah. It's very. I mean, I kind of didn't expect it to be this.
Open the gates.
Cartoony.
Yeah, the animation. Yeah.
I thought, you know,
the animation looks good.
Yeah. I mean, it does look good, absolutely.
God, I think like the minions.
I don't know what I expected from it, really.
No, neither do I. I just expected it to be like, meh, it looks like a kid's film.
I kind of thought it might have been more like Detective Pikachu or Sonic, where it's got this like real world kind of element with them.
Right, yeah. That'd be really weird though.
I mean, it would, absolutely. I wouldn't put it past Nintendo to do something like that.
I actually liked that Which one was it? The Detective Pikachu
Yeah.
one. I mean, I like Ryan Reynolds. I just think he's funny. So.
Oh, I mean, Mario looks a little bit.
Oh,
Right.
why does he look like that?
Let's wait to see how he sounds. It's a me.
What is this place?
Do not
Doing
touch that mushroom, you'll die!
Italian.
Oh, I'm sorry. That one's perfectly fine. Come on, Mario!
Mushroom Kingdom,
Doesn't
here
even
we
sound like
come.
people like
Like, yeah, they haven't got. I mean, it just sounded like Chris Pratt.
Yeah, the first line was definitely him doing his inner Italian,
Yeah, yeah.
but not being too racist.
I want to thank all of you for being.
Well, and that's it. Sure. Bowser's
Yeah.
in a floating volcano island attacking penguins. Mario appears in the Mushroom Kingdom and he's very confused. Toad assaults him, and then Luigi's stuck in Luigi's Mansion 5 or something. You know.
I really want another Luigi's Mansion game. I loved 3. It's such a good game. I love those games. But yeah, it was very strange. He started doing like slight Italian twang, and then as you say, the last line, it's just like, yeah, this sounds like Chris Pratt.
He's like, let's go. Like, all right. Sure.
Yeah, because he's just got that one of those voices. Like I was at like spending time with my nephew and was watching was it Disney Pixar, some film with some goblins in it or something like that. I don't know. But yeah, I was like, this voice sounds very familiar, and it was like, oh yeah, it's Chris Pratt. And it's like, or some other film, I don't know. He's in everything, isn't he? I like the Lego movie. I like the Lego movie.
Yeah, fair.
So, but that's just a good movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
What-
Yeah. That's it.
Extremely underwhelmed.
Very underwhelmed. I mean, that's
But
our reaction.
even having low standards, even having 0 standards,
Yeah.
still underwhelmed.
Being
But hey, a lot of people make good content out of it and get their clicks doing the I've seen the Mario. And it's just like, yeah, so is literally everybody else. But, people
everyone
get their
that
clicks.
searching
So-
through it for all of the little Nintendo Easter eggs, probably. They'll be like, "Oh, look, those are 3 images in the back. That's the ice climbers, just right at the
Yeah.
back of the penguins."
I
or
mean,
something
that
like
would be fun if it was like an actual game,
Yeah.
not a film. Yeah. Mario Bros. 3 is a good game.
Yeah.
Probably one of the best games of all time.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But-
I really like that game.
yeah, I mean, it probably takes you a little bit longer to beat than the movie will take, but it's probably a better use of your time.
Oh god, yeah. Like, just sitting down for 2 hours playing through Mario 3 is like... That's like a Friday night.
Yeah.
With a nice bottle of beer and
Yeah.
some nice food, dim the lights, put a candle on, and play Mario Bros. 3.
Brilliant.
Like, what else do you want in life?
Exactly.
Yeah. Any further thoughts about Valhalla then?
My final thought is it's massive. It is absolutely huge. As I say, I've just been exploring. I'm only in like this first area, right? And there's where am I? I can't remember the counties because they're not the county names. They're like the Vikings.
Essex.
Sort of like, yeah, I'm not in Essex. I don't think Essex exists. It's East Anglia. But I'm not in East Anglia yet. I don't think.
Just got off the barge from Felix though.
They kind of
Enjoyed a massive queue of lorries. That's your first 10 hours.
They're basically like, we've come through and we're gonna just go and set up a small little town. We're gonna inhabit this abandoned town. It's almost like right in the middle of the map. So you're like right up by like Leicester, and it's only the east, and it's a very truncated version of England, and it runs from, I mean, it does hit like Wessex, so it's running down to like Winchester, all the way up to like Northumbria, but it only cuts into like Gloucester, so I think Gloucester might be in it, but like Bristol isn't. It doesn't head into Wales at all. It doesn't go up into Scotland.
And then it just jumps across to Ireland in the DLC. Yeah. Nothing in between Leicester and Ireland, but just
But
sea.
yeah, I mean, I've so far the only place I've been to is a town which I've never heard of before. Well, I don't know whether this place even exists anymore, even if the name has changed. If it is a town and the name potentially would have changed, or whether it's just a little market town that I've never
Yeah,
heard
it's
of
called
before.
Nottingham. Yeah.
Yeah. Swindon, mate. No one ever wants to go there.
Skegness. That sounds like a very Nordic Viking name, isn't it? Skegness.
It does, yeah.
Mm.
Be interesting to go around and be like, oh, okay, because they're all like it's not Leicester, it's Leicestershire or something like that. Like the slightly old English / Norse or Angle / Saxon / Norse kind of words for it. So it's again, it's one of the things I like about this element. It's why I really liked Assassin's Creed Origins, was that like historic element to it. I'm like, fucking Egypt is cool. Like old Egypt is cool. I absolutely want to know kind of more about this. Vikings, I really like Vikings. That's fucking cool. And older, like England in the kind of turn of the like 10th century kind of thing. Yeah.
When did the Romans come over? Like when how come there's like no bath in this game?
The Romans are like 400 BC to like 400 AD ish in the UK.
Yeah, they
maybe.
been a while. So where's the where are the Roman baths?
So there probably will be some. So I've seen some ruins already, and I think they're taking a bit of artistic license on some of this. So there's big statues, large statues, which I'm like, well, I don't think that's Roman. That's more like Greek. This is, and the Doric columns that you've got in here seem a little bit off. They seem a little bit more Greek than Roman. But I imagine they've done a lot of research into.
Oh god, yeah. If there's
they
anything you can give them credit for, it's that kind of attention to detail. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, it spurred into me being like, wow, this is a cool structure in this place. I wonder if this actually still exists, or some part of this still exists here in the country. And it's now like a protected monument or something like that. Or just the foot of this giant statue is the only thing that's actually left. Because someone got pissed and knocked it down or something.
And just leant on it a bit too long. Did
like,
they
mate,
have
Leicester lost 4-2. I just fell into it like.
Oh, yeah. Oh god. I know Ubisoft sometimes get a bit funny with that stuff and don't always take themselves too seriously. So I can imagine like some of the drunk British accents in that game probably being very good. Do they have that? Is it called the Discovery mode that they had in the Egyptian one?
Yeah, I don't know. I
I
haven't looked at that actually. I did go around Egypt in Discovery mode because you could be different characters and like just walk the map as different characters and stuff. So I was like, oh, I'll be Cleopatra and just wander around the map, just get into some hijinks.
By an asp?
No. No, I think I got very, very close to a crocodile. But they don't do anything because it's Discover mode. It's like everything, just AI. Apart from like any aggressive AI behavior is just like turned off. So you can bump into soldiers constantly, just like push them over and stuff, and they're like, and just wander around. But yeah, I haven't had a look at Discovery mode in Valhalla, but I would imagine there is one. I think with Origins it came, and it's like an update to the game, like 6 months or 3 months or something after it released. So I don't know for Valhalla, but yeah, I would imagine it's there. This game is now a year old, maybe.
Close to at this point.
Maybe it might be 2.
Yeah.
Is there an Assassin's Creed game this year? Maybe. I don't know. Who fucking knows? Fuck Ubisoft. Play their games on the free wherever you can if you want to enjoy them. But yeah, I imagine I'll be playing that kind of for the foreseeable until A Plague Tale comes out in like 2 weeks' time.
Yeah. I need to play the first one still.
It's great. First one's great.
Yeah. I started playing it. I was just very impressed by just like the presentation of it, and then an actual plague happened, and I just didn't want to actually play the rest of it. So yeah, it's one of those. I think at
least that one's in
definitely get back on.
France, right? So,
Yeah, sure. Which is where I'd rather be if there was a plague, because at
Yeah.
least I'd get like nice wine and cheese.
Well,
Whereas
that's
here,
true.
we don't get cheese. I mean,
Just your
like
potatoes.
the prime minister's like up in arms about the fact that we have to import cheese. Yes.
It's a disgrace. I don't know if you've heard.
God.
Fucking hell. Have we recorded since fucking Truss became Prime Minister? Who knows? But Jesus Christ.
I don't know. Yeah. But I mean, it would be good to see that party just dissolve into nothingness. They'll just have to, it just won't be here. Won't be there anymore.
They just melt.
Which is not a bad thing. Yeah.
Would you like to see us out for the episode, Lucy, on any other games that you've been playing?
Yeah. I did play a game a few weeks ago. The embargo was up last week, but obviously we didn't record last week. But this is a very loosey game. It's a point-and-click adventure game. Came out before Monkey Island.
Okay.
No, sorry, it's come out after Monkey Island. Came out last week, but I played it before Monkey Island.
Okay.
It's called The Excavation of Hobbs Barrow, and it's interesting for you to start talking about Valhalla because it's set in England, it's set on the moors, and it's got such a wonderful atmosphere. It's pixel art, and it's got these like really highly detailed like close-ups on characters, these portraits and stuff like that. It's very stunning, and it's there to unnerve as well. But yeah, it's got a very atmospheric, set on the moors, misty, mysterious moors, and it's set around I guess around the turn of the Industrial Revolution, probably a few years into it. Got this this woman who's I forget her name because it's been 2 weeks since I played it. Or more. But yeah, she's come up from London, and she goes to a very small little town. And as someone who's lived in cities all my life, I can definitely vibe with that because not calling country folk weird. They're very splendid, nice people, but it's like we're not in Kansas anymore. So it's definitely that kind of feel. But and yeah, it's like this is it's just okay. There's one train, and the train tracks are broken now. There's no way out of this place. There's no mobile phones. There's she's there to do an excavation of a barrow called Hobbs Barrow in this little town. And her assistant is meant to meet her there, but he just doesn't show up. And it's like, can't call him or anything. I'd have to write him, and the letter get to him in 6 weeks or something. So yeah, it's got one of those you're a stranger in a very strange place, and she's a very confident woman even for the time. And yeah, a lot of the game is about actually meandering around the local townsfolk to actually, get permission to dig up this barrow, called Hobbs Barrow, because the game's got a very, spooky undertone. I don't want to spoil it, but it's like, okay, there's something up with this barrow. The townsfolk don't want to talk about it. They're very reticent to even, mention it, and it's like, their moors are haunted and all that kind of stuff. And it does have that like really good, as I say, atmosphere where it's like, it's not hokey. It isn't like, small English town, weird people, sort of like, is it Hot Fuzz?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. Like that. It's not very, hokey and over the top and comedic like that. It has a genuine sense of, being unnerved. But yeah, it's a straightforward point and click adventure game. Got your inventory, you're adding items to each other, looking around the environment, looking for things to interact with. And yeah, I think it's probably about 4 hours. Mileage might vary. It's a the signs of a good point and click adventure game where yes, I was playing pre-release. I think they offered me a guide as well, but didn't need it. Didn't didn't even have the inclination to look at it. And yeah, everything was just everything. The puzzles were logical enough, and everything just fell into place. And I think rather than the challenging nature of the puzzles, I think the enjoyment to have from it is just being in that atmosphere, and the voice acting is really good with all the characters and stuff like that, and just being in that kind of different space. You don't see many games set in like on the moors. In the middle of like the English countryside. So, but yeah, I really enjoyed it. It's just one of those games that I just put up on my Steam Deck and just played in pretty much a few settings. Just all I wanted to play, and yeah, it was good. I really enjoyed it.
Nice. And I think, as you said, sort of one of the first descriptors was unnerving, and I went on the Steam page and seen from Wadget Eye as well, and then watching that trailer and seeing some of those animations of those like very close-up pixel art faces and the cats and things like that, and you're like, oh yeah, they absolutely loved making this and putting this together. Just the way that the animation works when they're sort of their face changes very slightly, like, oh yeah, they absolutely loved this.
Yeah, just make it look as weird as possible,
Yeah.
just like that kind of like Moomin kind of just like those weird cartoons, like just like make everything look as weird and unsettling as possible. But yeah, Wadget Eye Games published it, and they're known for publishing and making some of the best mature point and click adventure games. And yeah, developers Cloak and Dagger Games. Yeah, really good. I recommend it. It's a very good point and click game. It's something where it's like, oh, it wasn't completely outshone by like Monkey Island, Return to Monkey Island, which it absolutely could have been. But I think a lot of people will come off the back of Monkey Island and think, I'm in this headspace. I want to play another point and click adventure game. Go pick up that. Oh,
Nice.
you won't be disappointed.
I imagine the tone of it is completely different to Monkey
Yes,
Island as well.
yeah.
Like they're kind of almost opposite ends of that kind of spectrum.
Yeah, but it isn't like overly sad or morose or anything, or it's still got a bit of humor to it. The main character, she's sort of like got a very confident in herself, and she's like a Lara Croft. I mean, she sounds like Lara Croft in like those new Tomb Raider games. I was like, is this the same voice actress? I know. But as I say, the voice acting is very good. Yes, very British and very, clippy and very sure of herself.
Yeah.
Yes, it's very confident. But I think the voice acting is definitely one of the high points for it. It gives that whole, world and the characters so much life and vibrancy, and it's all the better for it. So.
Nice. How long was it?
About 4 hours, I think. But probably about 6. Probably about 6 hours, to be fair. Yeah, because not every puzzle was. I wasn't stuck on any puzzle for too long. But yeah, so I'd probably say about 6 hours.
Nice. How long was Monkey Island?
Let me get it up on.
Because
I think it was about 12
Yeah,
hours.
I'd almost expect Monkey Island to be a much bigger beast as well.
Yeah, and I refused to look up any guides, and I didn't need to. I think there was only one puzzle I was stuck on, but I figured it out eventually. But and I played on the monkey mode or whatever it is, where it's meant to be harder. You got an easy mode, and yeah, Return to Monkey Island is very good. I really enjoyed that. It was just like coming back home. You know what I mean? Just
yeah.
that title screen and that music. It's just like. Yeah.
I mean, I know Ron. They got a load of shit for the change in art style. And I really like the way that it looks. I actually like that change, that difference in art style. Did it feel any different?
Because I was someone completely opposite, like kind of camp. I didn't like the art style when I first saw it. I obviously wasn't an asshole about it, going on Twitter saying, "Oh, just like I'm still going to play this game, no matter what it looks like. It could look like a Xbox 360 game from 2007 and just brown. It doesn't matter. I'm going to play it." but it worked. It looks so much better in motion
Right.
because I didn't want to look at any trailers or anything like that. I wanted to go in completely blind, so I didn't look at any of like pre-release material. But actually seeing it in motion, it makes such a difference. It's so much more beautiful, and it's like I completely 180 and turn around on the art style like the second I got in it. So if you look at it and just think, oh, not for me, actually try playing it, or and then yeah, it's really good. But in terms of feeling any different, it just felt like a Monkey Island game, and I think the best thing that they did was just making it feel like just a continuation from where they left off, with making obviously quality of life changes. Somewhere I'm not too. I prefer like the old way, like just using the Scum engine. I'd love that with just verbs and not giving like contextual hints. Like, don't tell me if I drag this item onto this what the outcome would be. Just it gives you a little bit of text. It's like, no, just let me go in blind and like listen to whatever the dialogue is. Because yeah, I think the biggest hallmark of a good point and click adventure game is being able to use an item and use it on something else that it's not meant to be used, and hear the quippy dialogue of like, this won't work, or what are you thinking, or that's kind of an insane idea, I like it, or something like that. Just, and obviously that's budget and time. And this game, you can tell that you can tell it's had money thrown behind it. The quality's there, but it's still money, time, writing. But yeah, that's the sign of a good point and click game, and I wish it had more of that. But but yeah, I think just bringing it in for a new audience, giving quality of life updates. It's got enough fan service. It references the old games, and it's about Guybrush coming back to something he did like 20 years ago and seeing how everything's different. And it's got a kind of like a meta level where it's like the creators talking about, coming back to something that completely like defined them and just having to come back to it. And there's when you finish the game, there's a note which they wrote at the start of the development, and what they hope to make and how they wish it turned out. And it's just such a sweet thing where it's like they're saying, we don't know how this is going to go, but we this is how we were 30 years ago when we made the first one. We're completely different. We've got families, kids, and stuff like that. We're just making this from a whole new perspective, and it was really sweet. And I think it obviously a labor of love. And yeah, it's fantastic. I really love that game. It's one of my favorites this year for sure.
Nice.
And I hope they just make more. I mean, how much money does Disney have? Just throw money at them. Make new adventure games. It doesn't have to be a Monkey Island or a Day of the Tentacle or anything like Maniac Mansion or Indiana Jones. It doesn't have to be any of those. It just makes something else. Like this genre is not dead. It was like one of the best selling games like the first week it came out on the Steam charts. So why won't they make more, Ben? Why won't they do it?
I mean, I know. What are they called? Lucas Film Games.
Yeah, I think they changed the name there, Lucasfilm or something.
They obviously want to, or by looking at kind of the idea of a rebrand and those kinds of things, looking at what they can do, having a bit more control, I think, over maybe like Lucas Arts or Lucas Film franchises, and having a bit more of a hand in stuff. Maybe not like George Lucas level hand in stuff and actually killing projects completely. But you would think that yes, if this game has done well, that it's a very kind of like by the numbers sort of thing. Like, yes, it's done well. Let's greenlight the pre-production of the next game and see how that feels as it goes through development. But
they have such small development times as well. They were saying this took 2 years, and it's like even for like modern day standards, like that would be the sort of time that they took to make them 30 years ago. It's not a
Yes.
massive
Yeah.
amount of difference. And it's just thinking that quick turnaround. That's just money sitting there.
Yeah.
And obviously maybe the creators had like ideas that they wanted them been sitting on those for years, but it's like, come on, you can make a point
Yeah, I
fix.
suppose again it's how quickly that they went. Well, actually, the pre-production phase is really quick because we've got it. It's done. Actually, 2 years
True.
because it's mostly production. Now, if they were to start again, is there an easy idea to jump onto, or something that has already been fleshed out? Maybe it's a 3-year kind of window because they spend a year in kind of pre-production and stuff like that. But it will be interesting to see how Lucasfilm Games starts to put content out. We'll only ever see that over the next 3-5 years and how they follow up on stuff, really. So, yeah, I can see your point, but
this is Disney, isn't it? And like all I've been hearing for like the last several months was like, oh, everyone's making like every comic book figure that you can think has had a movie in the last 20 years is getting a game now. So it's like, if you're gonna burn us out on like Disney crap, like at least do good Disney, things under the Disney umbrella.
yeah.
I don't need an Iron Man game or a seventh Spider-Man game or whatever the flip else they're making. You know what I mean? Just
Yeah.
it's like it would be more exciting if it was like, because when Spider-Man came around, it's like, okay, they haven't done Spider-Man since like those really bad Activision games or whatever since like 2013 or something. This is novel.
Yeah.
And it was a good game. Now it's just like, okay, who wants to make a Disney game or a Star Wars game or whatever Marvel game? And it's just like, oh, you developer, you were incorporated yesterday, and there's 2 of you, and you're in like, I don't know, a basement in Georgia, the country, and it's just like, okay, why don't you do Ant-Man then? And you do peasants over there.
But even then, it's one of those where they're like, oh yes, of course, Crystal Dynamics, makers of single-player Lara Croft games, please now make us a multiplayer live service game based on the Avengers. It's weird, right? And I can see why they've gone with like Insomniac for, say, like a Wolverine game. Single-player, story-driven kind of game. Bit more action focused. Yeah, you're going to go to them for that kind of thing. That's a smart kind of move. It's going to be so interesting to see how these things kind of play out. They've gone
I'm already sick of them.
Yeah. Well, who's making Midnight Suns? Is it not Firaxis?
Isn't that like Firaxis?
It might be. But again, Midnight Suns is going to be more like an XCOM-y type experience.
Yeah, and that's good. That's fun. Like, diversify the portfolio at least. Yes. But you can imagine that all of these are just going to be they're like, Sony, what are you doing? Oh, just third-person games. They all sell 10 million each.
Yeah.
Why don't we make 7 of those too within 2 years? And it's just going to be like, oh my god, there's going to be nothing different. It's going to be a palette swap. They might as well just share the engine, share the text, share the source code, and just do, let's make Spider-Man into Ant-Man. They've got the same moveset. They're all in Fortnite. Just rip it from Fortnite.
I mean, Tencent and Sony are kind of hand in hand, aren't they? They've both got a stake in Epic and stuff like that. So it's all just going to merge into one thing at some point, isn't it? It's just going to be Human the Superman, and it's just a normal bloke walking around the streets just with a briefcase, hitting people with it constantly. You're like, oh my god, it's like real life. It's like, yeah, okay, cool.
And I'm sure a lot of these games will be good quality, but it's like less is more. I don't need all these games, and I don't know why I'm complaining, because I'm not going to play any of them. But it's the fact that I don't want to hear about them. I'm being selfish. I don't want to hear about the new Ant-Man game. Will this be any different? No, it'll be the same sludge that everyone consumes.
Do you know what could be different? And you know what I think would work very, very well? Would be like a Metroidvania style Blade game.
With Wesley Snipes.
With Wesley, absolutely. Okay. Not Marsh. Bollocks, what's his name?
Marshall Ali or something.
Yeah, the new guy.
I know his name. I know he was in one thing. I didn't know he was a Blade. Are they making a new Blade movie?
They are making a new Blade movie with him, Marshall Ali. Is that his name?
Yeah.
Yes.
But as soon as someone
he
said
is,
Marshall, I was like, oh, they're talking about that guy. Yeah.
he is the new. He's Blade. Yeah.
When's that coming out?
I've got no idea. But you know, to coincide, or you know, a little bit before the release, or even a little bit after, who cares? Bring it at some point. Yeah, like a Metroidvania, 2D Metroidvania Blade game. That's what I want.
Okay, Ben, you know how to, pitch me a game. Here's £10 billion.
Yeah, hooray!
You incorporated
that
yesterday.
one
No
guy. I'm
experience.
that one
Here
guy
you go.
in just the room. Yes, of course.
In the basement in Georgia.
Yeah, it's called Ben Makes Games. Sure. What a perfect place for us to finish for this week. We'll return to our beers briefly. Lucy, back to you for the Smoky Imperial Stout.
Yeah, still
which
got
I
a
forgot
bit
the
left.
name of. Puma something.
It's
Fuma
a
something.
name that I don't expect you to remember. It's Fumapapa. Still got I've still got like half the can left as well.
Right. Yeah,
So it's just one of those. It's just a beautiful one just to sip on. It's like at no point during our conversation have I felt the need just to, keep sipping. It just has such a lovely lingering flavour. I could see it's a 440ml can. Maybe you might get sick of it by the time you get to the end of it. Okay. So maybe it could be like a 330, especially 10%. But yeah, it just sits on the palate so well. It's as I say, smoky. It's deep. It's got bundles of that bitter, smoky, oaky flavour. Yeah, it's starting to feel it too. So
nice.
2 thumbs up.
Perfect.
Yeah, I mean, they're just a very good brewery. I don't think I've had a bad beer from them. So
no, I had to seek them out. I don't think I've had a beer from them yet.
Oh, okay.
So
but it's literally Sturchley Wines is the only place that I see stocking them. So I mean, I spoke to him about it when I went there last, and he likes them. So
fair.
Yeah, I mean, if you like a beer and you're in a shop, then
yeah, absolutely.
Chances are you're gonna go seek them out. So yeah, I'm glad he's doing it.
Good. For me, the Good Chemistry Throwing Shade was very consistent. I had a similar flavour profile, and that little kind of, as I said, that kind of few second journey that you get sticks around. That doesn't fade that quickly. It doesn't just turn into that more earthy, bitter beer. Some of those flavours dull a little bit, but you're still getting that difference in flavour, even though it's even lighter in the back half of the beer. You're still getting that journey through going, I'm still getting that touch of sweetness, and then it's hitting into that more earthy kind of bitter finish. It went down very, very easily, and part of that is because it was dry, and I'm like, oh no, it's gone. I need a little bit more.
Yeah.
I think I probably finished it like 10-15 minutes ago, to be fair.
Okay.
So it took me maybe half an hour to drink a 440 can, because it was constantly sort of like, no, you should be drinking. Even when we were chatting, I'm like, I'm so dry. I need something.
I think you could absolutely fall into that trap with this one as well, but it's one of those where it's like, even though it might dry you out a bit, you've got enough of that flavour to just see you through anyway. So yeah, I get what you're saying, absolutely.
Yeah, and if you want it to last a little bit longer, you could always, just have a glass of water next to you. So when that dries out instantly, just to have a sip and give yourself a minute or two before you kind of go back to the beer. Otherwise, you are sipping every 20 seconds, and it will disappear very, very quickly. But it's light enough that I could have had another can. If this had been Good Chemistry's old, like what were they 500ml bottles or were they 660ml bottles? The
they were
huge
500,
bottles
weren't
that
they?
they used to do. If
I
that
swear
had
they
been
were
in,
500.
yeah, if that had been in this, that would have been so easy. You could have, or I could have very easily had, a much larger portion of this, and it
Did they
just
not do those bottles anymore?
No,
Because I loved them.
no,
I really like them.
they
They were
moved to
just like,
cans.
yeah, but I thought like maybe just in Bristol or something they'd still do bottles, and it's
No,
like
no,
they were,
unfortunately not.
they were big boys, and I like those big boys.
Yeah, they were good. But again, that was several years ago now. Was it about pandemic? Early 2020 maybe times that they switched to cans.
Oh God, it's been that long.
Yeah.
The funny thing is that they switched to cans, and get even less of those beers in Birmingham. I just don't see them. So it's like, isn't this meant to help? In terms of like shipping and
But yeah, broaden
putting them on the shelves.
the market a little bit. But
I shrunk it.
But it's very like, I don't know whether it's cyclical, but and I haven't been over to Bottles and Books, which I think is probably like the premier bottle shop in Bristol now. But Lewis was getting, Attic, Dig, Glasshouse down from Birmingham, and I haven't seen them anywhere else. I don't know whether he's still getting them down into the bottle shop, because I haven't been over there for a good few months. It's months actually. It's months and months and months since I've been over there. But be interesting to see when I go in, kind of what is on offer, because I think it's almost sort of like suddenly you go like, oh, we haven't had anything from these guys for a while. You're like, oh, and they're also surrounded by Attic and all of these other people as well. Let's just have a big order from Birmingham and get them down for a bit, or let's go out and get like Pressure Drop and everyone sort of like on the Bermondsey kind of beer mile. Let's get stuff over from them and things. I think it almost is a bit cyclical in terms of, because you've only got a finite space to be able to showcase certain beers.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Who knows? I don't run a bottle shop. I've got no idea.
Well, sadly, we don't. Well, it's probably good, because I always think I'd just drink it.
Mate, it'd be terrible
stock.
me owning a bottle shop. You get no work done.
We'd be dead in like 6 weeks.
24/7 podcasts. New beer every 30 minutes. Out of business within 3 days.
Should we do it anyway? We may ruin ourselves, but we'll have a good time with it.
They've taken all the mortgages away. There's no point in buying houses anymore. Let's just spend all of our money on beer and podcasting.
I was looking to buy one, and then, I mean, good job I didn't.
Yeah.
I think everyone would just be like, no, sorry. Shut the door on me now.
Unfortunately. Let's finish there for this week. If you would like to talk to us about the beers that you're drinking or the games you're playing, or you watched the really shit Mario trailer and you want to tell us about it, you can at TankedUpCast over on Twitter or on Instagram. I'm at Nova_47. Lucy is
at JuicyLoose9.
And we are both over on Twitter most of the time. Well, not like most of the time, but that's where our social media presence is.
I've been more on Twitter now. Not doing anything. I don't tweet. Just liking
just
things
looking
about
at shit.
Yeah, it's that, if the economy crashes, silver linings.
Oh,
the memes have been great.
Twitter's a great place. Twitter's an absolutely great place for anti-tourist sentiment.
That's why I've been on there lately. It's cathartic.
Absolutely. If you'd like to talk to us on the daily basis, you can do so if you join us in our Out of Lives Discord and hit one of us up, and we will absolutely send you a link and get you
or
over.
If you hit me up, I'll ask Ben, how do I get the link?
And then I'll send a link, absolutely. If you want to send us any long-form thoughts, we are tankedupcast@gmail.com as well. Remember to go to outoflives.net to look at all the articles and everything else that we post. Adel has started his new job, which is why he's on a little bit of an extended hiatus, even with us missing a few episodes as well. But he did throw up before he started a few videos about the Turtles Cowabunga collection, which he spoke about a couple of weeks ago as well. So there's some gameplay videos up on outoflives.net too, and over on our YouTube page. Like, rate, leave a comment, do all of those things on your podcast service of choice, because it's really, really helpful. And tell a friend, because sharing is caring, as I have to keep repeating constantly at the moment.
To your children?
Yes, not just randomly to myself, to small people. Absolutely. But yes, tell your friends, join the conversation, join us for a beer as well. If you're in Bristol, if you're in Birmingham, hit us up, let us know what's going on. If we're at festivals, come and chat to us.
Yeah, I mean, social places will be less social going into the winter, and people not being able to heat their homes. Well, I guess more people probably go out.
That's it. We just have to leave them.
Sit in Starbucks, unless you're sitting in Starbucks.
Like, the corporations can pay for our heating. Perfect.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we are heading towards a corporate dystopia, aren't we? So, might as well get it in now, hadn't we? Save all your money.
Have fun with it. Have fun with the revolution that I'm sure to happen soon enough. Have fun with the anarchy.
Perfect.
As much fun as you can.
A perfect sentiment to finish on. Thank you very much for joining us this week. We have been Tanked Up, and we will catch you soon. Bye.
Bye. Ciao.
www.outoflives.net